Hello, everybody. Today we are here with InsaneMonster. We are about to talk about Warcraft 3 Reforged. Really a mind bender there. Guy went out of his way to make the game that we were, promised to get. But anyway, how you doing today? I don't know if you want to introduce yourself more formally.
Well, I can say I'm from Italy. My name is Luca Pasqualini, so I can help everyone for the pronunciation of these. And I actually didn't remake the entire game, only the prologue campaign. This is important, otherwise people would think, okay, well, the entire game is not the entire game yet. Okay,
What I
it's
said was
just
more sensationalist.
well, I started this mostly for fun. Well, let's say I was hype as hell for Reforged originally. When it was announced, I loved the BlitzCon cinematics. Really, I did, and I pre-ordered the game. So bad me for this. I never pre-order games, guys, and then when I opened the game, I thought, okay, this is actually not like what was promised, but I would say it was reforged in a way. I mean, cinematics were changed. If you compare the original version from the reforged version of all cinematics, almost any one of them is changed, and it's better in reforged, just not better as advertised. This is, I believe, the biggest problem. So after a couple of months of the game, I thought, well, why can I try make something better for myself, only for myself, not for not to publish. And I tried for the first mission. I saw it. I thought, okay, let's change the cinematics, only the cinematics. I liked my work, and so I decided to publish it on iWorkshop. And then it, well, became bigger. I can say that.
How all great projects start. Posted on Hive Workshop.
Yes, actually, I've workshop originally. They didn't like what I made. I mean, okay, many people like that. Okay, I had very positive feedbacks, and this is mostly why I decided to go on. Otherwise, I probably would have stopped. But the reviewers, the Hive workshop rules actually built to ensure you made original content. So they didn't like the fact that I was reforging the campaign, but they prefer, why don't you make something new? I mean, I can make different stories, but I prefer to do that because I like that. I wanted to
Yeah,
make the
you were making
story
it
that
for
already exists
yourself.
better. Yes, I was
Yeah.
making for myself. So I mean, I will stick to it, and I believe I can make a quality product. So I workshop could accept it anyway, and well, at the end they did, and now it's released, finished. I will only need to make some small changes, I believe, like adding more localization. For example, French and German localization are being worked on right now, and we could improve additional localization. I saw some minor, very minor bugs and some playthrough. The more playthrough I see, the better, so I can see the bugs and solve them before people notice their presence.
Were you a
And
map
that's it,
maker
basically.
before this?
Well, I made map for Warcraft 2 back in the day when I was a child, then
But
StarCraft, then Warcraft 3, I was a child. So I still remembered when I first understood how to make AI, sorry, work in custom maps in StarCraft. the original StarCraft, and I was a little child, so I was not that good. Then I stopped for a lot of years. Actually, I played, of course, StarCraft 2, but I stopped making maps. My latest experience in map making, beside this one, is for the contest Rock the Cabinet Blizzard made in 2017, the co-op edition for StarCraft 2, and they asked the community to make co-op maps, and they had prizes for it, so you can participate. They would have judged you. Then there was popular judgment and so on. I published a map. It's called Mercenary Business. I don't think it works anymore now. 3 years passed and I haven't updated since. But I actually made it to the top 10. I want something very very little, but I want. So this is my latest experience in map making. Beside that one,
So
beside Warforged.
you just jumped right into it. You played the Reforged campaign. It didn't work out so well. The game dropped. I actually couldn't play the campaign. I only got to play the prologue, and then on the sixth human mission, it just broke, and I've never finished.
Broken in what way? In which way?
I don't know. I just couldn't play anymore. Like, I guess they probably, but I was like streaming it, and like every time I'd go in, start the mission again, it would just campaign was
Okay, so
definitely a fail.
quite a big bug. I played the prologue, some of the human maps, and then I I mean, I liked the campaign, of course. I played it many times, the original one, the classic one, but the Reforged one was more a disappointment than others because mm, I mean, I was expecting much more, so I didn't play through it all. I just played the prologue and some human missions, I believe, to Northrend, not after arriving to Northrend. And mm, well, what can I say? Is I followed the campaign on YouTube, for example, on some streamers, some YouTubers played it too, through it all, and so I watched what I was more interested in, specifically the actually the forged missions, the one with different designs. I mean, the 4 maps which were redesigned, 4 or 3.
Four maps out of 40, 60.
Yes.
When did you start, like, working on the project? Like,
Well,
when did you first post on High?
okay, on March. I first post on March. It was a very beta version. It had no lip sync. Uh, Originally, when I started, I believed that lip sync was a feature not available to modders yet. I believe that because another user on iWorkshop, I don't remember his nickname, reported that the Blizzard actually answered to him to his question, which was, how can I make lip sync work outside of the official campaigns? And Blizzard replied, well, it's not available to you yet. Okay, this is
Classic.
sad, and it's not true. I investigating more when I decided to go on with the project. So make more maps, make more stuff. Decide, okay, let's get serious about this. People seems to like it, so and I also did like it. So I started investigating and found a way to put lip sync back in by using some hidden function in the editor. Basically, you're a map maker, you told me.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you
looking
know
at the
what
map right
triggers
now.
are.
Investigating.
Okay. Okay, hey, feel free. All my maps are open, so you can investigate as much as you want. And I found in the GUI editor 3 functions which were all the same and were not under the actions category, but were instead under the conditions category. and they were related to dialogues. Dialogues are an object, an entity, we can call it this way, which links together the sound, the the spoken text, the facial animation, and the speaker text, the name of the speaker. And through these strange conditions, I believed you could make something, but they were bugged. I mean, the GUI was bugged. So I turned them into JS using the trigger editor, and I saw the real functions behind them, which were not bugged at all, and you can use them to put facial animation back in. Okay, so to do this, I checked in the maps, and there were a file called conversation.json file, which is a byproduct of the dialogue editor Blizzard has inside the editor, but did not release. Okay, it's hidden inside. And through investigating this file, I actually understood what to place in each function, and so I could put back in the game the animated portraits, which were missing otherwise in all custom campaigns. So, for example, other campaigns like the Chronicle of the Second War and so on, they use this trick to make facial animation works. This is
That's
some of the
fascinating.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of investigating and if went into discovering this kind of stuff because Blizzard didn't tell us. I mean, they could just drop on Ivan and say, "Hey, do this," but they didn't. So I need to figure it out by myself.
yeah. Yeah, I remember the thing that stood out the most playing your campaign was the facial animation. Like it was to the point where I was like, did they even have this in the regular one? Like, did this guy like rig the faces? And you were like, no, no,
I
no.
Yes, I can't rig them because I have no access to the source files, and the tool they use to rig them is quite expensive. Actually, not something I can afford right now, and or for something like that. So, but they are in the campaign. There are everywhere those facial animations. They are all rigged. They all talk, lip synced everywhere, but they just don't show them. I mean, you should try one thing. When you play in Reforged, just click on one of the units. Okay, even in melee, it's not important, and you can see that the unit is also not only animating its portrait in the portrait window, but also on the game. If you click on a grunt, the grunt will actually move its mouth in the game.
Yeah,
It's built like that. This is the technology behind this. They have this technology, but they don't use it. I mean, they use it, but they don't show it. I don't understand. This is stupid because actually they made it. It works quite well. Why don't you show it more? It's good. It's nice. Show it more.
yeah. Over time, I seem to think that all Blizzard did, but all Blizzard did was just reskin the
Not true.
models, and then they did like nothing else with it. Like even the reskinning came with things. Okay, and they were just like, ah, man, too much.
I mean, I actually made this joke with Architect, which is this is the Discord name, which is a Blizzard employee. So it looks like animators went out for pizza to never come back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like something that is there. The technology is there. The stuff is there, but it's not used. It's not implemented. I mean, I have a beautiful model, okay, of Thrall, and I show it only very, very small and immersed in a big red ugly glow. Why? I mean, I have the model, I can show it better and make it shine. I didn't change trial model, just remove the glow for the cinematics and actually animate, make the cameras up closer, and it works well. It's all required for a cinematic. I mean, okay, of course, I'm talking about just about cinematics there, not about gameplay.
Yeah, it was funny. When Return and I were talking, um, he was saying he was talking about how each model has like four different, three of which are like basically unused, and like his theory is that they were to be used for like it'd be like a high res model and then like a medium graphics and a low graphics, but they just went out for pizza and they didn't do the other three versions of you know the model file, and then they're sitting there, and he was just like, well, if anyone knows, I've just been deleting them. Like, we know what to do with these. They're important.
Well, I noticed them too while working with Retera Model Studio to fix some animations. Mostly, I fixed animations for the models. I saw all these lots. They are called lots. Actually, in the game industry, lots are used to render at different details, both texture-wise with mip maps and model-wise with specifically lots, objects at different distances. Okay, so for example, if you are playing GTA, okay, you will have your a person right next to you, and it's rendered full resolution for textures, full resolution for the model. Then you have the person at 200 feet away, and it's rendered at a lower resolution for textures called mip maps, and at a lower resolution for models, which is actually the LOD, which is a model with less vertices, okay, less faces, less details in the model. This is how they're used, and it's very important because otherwise the engine it's very under pressure when you render something at a bigger distance, because of course you have a lot of information in the form of textures and the form of um, models in very few pixels. So you are actually wasting all of this information, and this information is computation, and this computation is costly for the computer. This is why Reforged has some very bad frame per second when you in some cinematics, because if you increase the draw distance, which is the distance at which you can see things in the scene, the all the very high res models are loaded, and then your PC start to lag. This is something to take care with cinematics. I've already seen some cinematics of mine actually have too low FPS on other people's PCs, different than mine. Mine is quite powerful actually, so I can render quite well.
Damn, dude. So how you must be like the cinematic professional now.
Well,
Must you
uh,
must be top tier.
well, professional is a big word. I mean, I'm not made cinematics before that. I started with this project. I have did some game dev in Unity, for example, so from scratch, so I can make models, renders. I can make stuff also in other engines. Mm, But just for me, it's like an hobby, not my work. And cinematics I just did for this project. This is the first time I made cinematics like this. I like doing cinematics actually. um, I like it quite a lot, even if it's quite frustrating in the word editor, because you need to test each cinematics in game. You need to start the map. I made some cheat. You can see if you are looking at my maps, you can see that there is a section of the triggers called cheats, in which I actually just
Skip through
put
cinematics.
put some files to load the cinematics, so I can test the cinematics faster. Otherwise, it's a pain playing the map to get the cinematics.
Oh
I
right,
need
yeah.
to test the cinematics to get it right at least 20 times, at least, because it depends on the length of the cinematics, of course. Some more static I get right one, two, but longer one can require a lot of time to polish, because it's not easy to to make everything work, especially because when the cinematics, the units move, they use the gamepad finding, which is old, so they got stuck. They rotate badly, and it's not easy to make cinematics. I mean, this is not it's tedious to test, but I love the results. So I I much like it when I see the cinematics coming to fruition with a good background music and all that stuff. It's very empowering. I don't know, um, more than gameplay, maybe.
Yeah, I think my two favorite were when they were like at sea, and there was like I guess the thinking on faction name, but basically the orcs were at sea and they're on the ship, and then the admiral. Like
Ah, okay.
Dark
You
Blood.
the interlude. Okay.
That was a great one.
For example, I can share some nice info about that. Actually, all the units you can see on board of the ships are floating. They are flying units. Okay, flying at the right height, while the ships are unanimated. They have no animation, so they stay still. And I move the camera to fake out the ship movement. There's some tricks to make scene like that. It's not easy because, of course, you cannot just place the units on the ship. It cannot stay on the ship. The ship is a dot, nothing
Yeah.
more. Just a prop.
What was the hardest cinematic to make? Like, was there anything that you got caught on? Like, okay, this is actually I need to like redo this. Or they
Redo
all
from
naturally
scratch?
easy?
Redo from scratch? No one. No one I did from scratch. I adjust some stuff. Maybe one of the two hardest to make were the final cinematics of the second mission when Thrall and the orcs free Grom, and the final cinematics of the third mission when Thrall and the humans fight, and then the Morlocks came to take them underground. These are the most difficult to do because they have a lot of actors moving. So if you check them in the editor, you can see they have a lot of regions, a lot of triggers to run everything in sync. Okay, so there is a lot of sync stuff, a lot of load, unload of units, move units to the position, and then rotate at the appropriate angle, and so on. They were quite long to make. Those two, the longest.
So I think in stream you said that you actually made, or I guess like edited the Senjin model.
Yes, I must first of all say thank you to Moonman, which helped me. It was the first model I tried to edit, so he helped me figure out how to work with Retera Model Studio actually, because I came from Blender, Substance Painter. This is an entire different world. And yes, Engine is the most edited model. You can see there is a model for Snow Song, there is a model for unarmed units. You have units when they are prisoners, they have no weapons, and so forth. But Engine is maybe the best one because I really like how it turned out to be. It looks very similar to Vol'jin because it's the same model actually, but it looks so much older. So it's distinct but similar. I think it's a very good model, maybe my best model. I've not made so many models, mostly edits, but this is the best edit I made for sure.
Do you have a special place in your heart for Senjin?
Yes, yes, poor Senjin. I always hated the way is that was handled. I mean, it's not cathartic. You fight against this sorcerer, he kills Senjin, and then Senjin say goodbye. Okay, you can see its model on the floor. Also, it's just the basic witch doctor model, so it's very anonymous. I mean, so I decided to give him a bit more character, especially with the death cinematics. I put him on a pedestal and so forth, and try to make the moment a bit more intense for for the users.
Yeah, I don't know, this is gonna sound weird, but I really enjoyed him like dying on that pedestal and talking, just because it was so awkward. Like he was like dead, but he was talking, and I was just like, yeah, this is weird.
Uh,
But it was great. Like I loved it.
Well, the animation is actually his death animation. He's on his death animation, and he can still move the face. So you have that animation, and he moves the lips.
Yeah.
Uh, the effect is quite good. I mean, of course, there is something we can. There is stuff we cannot do with Reforged engine. It's still Warcraft 3. It can only do so much. It's not StarCraft 2 where you have a full-fledged cinematic editor. It's not a modern game. It's modernized but not modern, and so there is some stuff it's very very complex to do. And this applies also to gameplay, of course.
Are you
And
excited
I
for
hope,
Warcraft 4?
I think we will never get Warcraft 4. Why should I be
Rats.
excited about something that will never happen?
Guessed. Sorry, I
I mean,
cut you off with that.
well, Warcraft 4, uh, they have they have World of Warcraft, and I don't think anything can catch on the story of World of Warcraft. I've never played World of Warcraft. I dislike massive multiplayer online games. I dislike that. Mm, I, of course, read a lot of the lore, and I have a lot of good people helping me out for the lore of World of Warcraft to put references in the maps. But I don't think we'll ever see Warcraft 4, especially because the real-time strategy genre is dying. I believe it's there are not many games RTS anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to decipher the statement RTS is dying. Like it probably is dying, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like to some extent like Warcraft 3 Reforged like still went like you're still here making a campaign for I don't is it dying? But I guess if it's dying it's thanks to Blizzard or getting support.
Well, actually, I believe if it's not already died, it's thanks to Blizzard. Okay, so I played also the strategy games, real-time strategy, like Company of Heroes, Dawn of War, or the more simple Age of Empires. But Blizzard games are the only one where you have actually different gameplay in missions. That applies also to Warcraft 3, the original one, to a certain extent, but more so to StarCraft 2. But you can see that a game, an RTS game, can be successful if you allow it to host more games, more type of gameplay. The basic gameplay, build a base, destroy the enemy base, it's a bit repetitive on the long run, I believe, and it's not very good to tell a story. So you're very limited in your narrative if you just build a base, destroy the enemy base, build another base, destroy the enemy base, expand them, destroy the enemy base. Can be limiting, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean like Age of Empires 2, I think they did a remaster that went really well. Maybe there's hope. But it's probably not Warcraft.
I mean, well, maybe Reforged was an attempt at that. I mean, okay, I try with Reforged. Let's see if it works. It didn't work. Um, it didn't work at all. People is still whining about Reforged. I mean, okay, I understand people's feeling. Okay, the game is bad, and so on and so on and so on. But it's a year now. Can we just stop whining, please? It's it's pointless to whine at this point. Mm, I believe it's better to try to make the game better because we can, instead of just whining about its state. It's not broken. It's not unfunctional. It's not like Cyberpunk. I mean,
Yeah,
the, the
I'd agree.
disaster of the last month. Um, you can play Warcraft both online and offline, so you can enjoy it and try to make it better. I believe Blizzard will not make Warcraft 4, but maybe they can prove me wrong. I mean, who am I
It's a five
to?
head move by them. They saw how successful Reforged, and then they stopped making it because they're actually making Warcraft 4.
Um,
as
it's a
we could
nice
fantasize.
wish. I don't think it will. I don't know. Maybe in some days at BlizzCon Online they will prove me wrong, and they go, okay, we have Warcraft 4, we have StarCraft 3. We've been working on them. They are ready.
Yeah, yeah. That's my theory, my crackpot theory. But they were waiting for. I guess we've been waiting for Warcraft for over 20 years. Yeah, it's never coming. I feel like that people were waiting for Diablo 3 for a while too. Okay, Warcraft 3 re the real topic here. So when I was playing the campaign yesterday, I think you said, well, I'm also like I haven't played I guess in a while as familiar. I think you said the first two missions, but I definitely noticed the first two missions were like basically the same, and then the last three missions you seemed to deviate a bit from what they were actually like in the
Well, the
like
first
deviate
mission.
in terms of like added your own mechanics and stuff. Like you didn't deviate in the story, but wasn't quite.
One thing. When you reforge or re-reforge something, whatever you want to call this, you need to check the original content. If the map has a good layout, first, this is the most important thing. Okay, then you need to check if the map has good gameplay, it's consistent, it's appropriate to the difficulty level it should have. Then you need to check if the style, for example, the terrain, it's appropriate. Okay, you can have different terrain, same layout. You can have same layout, different gameplay, and so on. The first two maps, the first one, they are also tutorials, so I can't change much because otherwise I will break the tutorial. As you could saw when you're playing, I gave an option to play tutorial. If you play the tutorial, you will it will work as always. Actually, I try to improve the tutorial a bit for what was possible, but tutorial is still there. So the first map, I felt it didn't need much change. I like the first map. The first map is like this strange chase in dark environment, dark because of the weather, and you meet the Horde, you meet some creeps, you meet this strange figure, and then it starts from there. You don't need to change the layout, the terrain of these maps. I add some stuff. I think you missed the secret on the map,
I might
so
have.
I added a secret. Yes, you were like speed running to a certain extent, and so the first map didn't need to be changed so much. The second one, didn't change the layout at all, but I did change completely the second half of the map. So I remade completely the city to look similar to World of Warcraft. Now I did not replicate because it was not fitting, I believe, for the place, but try to make it more consistent. And I added the citizen, the routines. So and also I added an AI. So the gameplay of the second map is quite changed actually because the enemy do attack you. If you open the gate, enter the city, and then go back, or you are defeated. Let's think you enter with 2 grants only, and they will attack you. Okay, they will continue attacking your base, and so the gameplay about this has changed. Is less intense for different respect of the following maps, of course, because I believe the third, fourth, and fifth prologue maps needed to be reimagined the most. They were like a draft of what they could have been. They have a lot of cut content. They had a lot of um, stuff that was wrong. I mean, why there are nulls on these islands? These islands should be Naga Islands, so the sunken ruin style set and so forth. And so I decided to design them. Actually, the third map is so different because I decided to make one map for two missions. The last missions you can see is on the same map of the on the third one, and so you actually come back to your own base and you can defend against the enemies on your own base on the same terrain with some differences due to the volcanic activity. The fourth map instead has the same exact layout. You can see I added some sections, but the path your units will follow from start to finish is exactly the same of the original map. It's the same layout, different terrain in this case. The gameplay is similar. It's a micro mission. I added the boss fight. Okay, this is the most big change, and the first section, which is quite simple and short, so not much there.
Boss fight was awesome. That was like that was awesome.
I borrowed from StarCraft 2. Some people told me it's similar to boss fights in World of Warcraft. I guess it's all Blizzard made, so probably it's the same.
Yeah, I like how it was like. I mean, again, I haven't played the Warcraft 3 campaigns properly in a while, but I don't think there's any like real legitimate boss fights other than maybe I feel like yeah, I don't know. Like there's no maybe there is and I guess there's Kill Jaden. There isn't as many like tiered boss fights. I don't know. It felt modern playing here. Like it felt like I was playing.
That was the goal. That was precisely the goal, to make something different because mm, I think Warcraft is improving its engine and so forth, but also to flesh out enemies. For example, Kellen the Seeker is just a um, anonymous archmage in the regional pro campaign. Has the same name, exactly the same name, but is anonymous. And I gave him a personality. Actually, his items reflect his personality, and he tries to protect his own units. It's very smart. He escapes from the final fight and the cinematics. If you explore well the fifth map, you can still find Kellen the Seeker, because actually I envisioned him to be the same Kellen the Seeker that should you find um, Silvermoon later on in the Undead campaign. Um, for example, also the Murloc Sorcerer is an interesting character, but he doesn't have a name in the in the original campaign. So I gave him a name, and I gave him actually one, two, three cutscenes, considering um, the mission before, in which you can see what he's doing. You can see more of him, so you can actually make a connection to it. You need to connect to your enemies, not only to your friends, because you this way you can see, I can fight against you. I can feel the importance of the fight. I don't know if I am able to explain what I'm trying to say. It's just about how the player feel about both his own units and the enemy units. And this is, I believe, what Warcraft should be about. Important characters with an RTS game built around them. This is the vision of the game, I believe.
Yeah, I have a quick question because I just have your map up. Because so when I was playing through, I didn't realize you could do hard through the editor. And I was like, oh, that's how you do. Couldn't you add a option to do normal or hard, like as like a dialogue pop up in the beginning?
Yes, I could, but I don't like this. Why I don't like it? Because um, it's just a missing feature. I mean, I hope Blizzard will give us custom campaigns, so the problem does not exist. If in a reasonable time frame we will not get custom campaigns, I will probably resort on doing that. Right now, I'm
Ah,
more on waiting. I think
it's like a
I put
threat.
the
Yeah.
description.
I've been petitioning so hard for custom campaigns. By the way, I don't even like. Sorry, but I never played custom campaigns, so I don't really care. But I would play them. And everyone I talk to on these that like has any sort of say in anything, I'm like, oh man, you ever hear of custom campaigns? Because a lot of the melee people don't even know that it was. And I've been pushing really hard for it.
It's a must-have feature. I mean, with custom campaigns, we can actually fix the game and add meaningful content, single-player content, story content to the game. Otherwise, it's just multiplayer maps. Not that I'm opposed to multiplayer maps at all. They are good, they are fine, they're fun. But you cannot build more for the game. The game needs a story, not only gameplay. It also needs story, I believe. I love stories, and telling a story through a game is fantastic. So, and even it's not my story, so I just change it some way, some stuff, but it's not my story. Just retelling a story, a good story through video game, it's very interesting. And I believe single player content it's what truly shine for Warcraft, for Starcraft 2 also. And I really hope they will put custom campaign back, because with that it will make even playing stuff like Re-reforged much easier for the average user. Otherwise, the average user say, "How can I play this?" Mm, they cannot even choose the difficulty. I mean, you have no problem beating normal, but suppose there is a player out there which is not good because it's new to the game and cannot play on easy, and maybe is confused by my description, or to use the editor is confused. Maybe some other campaigns are actually locked. You cannot open the maps in the editor because the author prefer to keep their stuff more secret. It's legitimate, and so you cannot play on easy. And if you cannot beat it on normal, what can you do? Or if you are a pro player, you want to play on hard, because otherwise it's boring. It's a boring gameplay. Boring gameplay makes less interesting mission. You cannot say, okay, I defeated this big enemy, I feel rewarded. You do not feel rewarded if it was easy for you. Okay, this is why I told you to play the
Yeah,
last map on hard.
I do kind of regret playing on normal. After playing the last one and it was like legitimately a challenge, I was like, ah, oh, whoops. I'll play your next one on hard for sure.
Well, I
Maybe I'll even go back.
the campaign progression is built difficulty wise is built this way. You start from something. You cannot lose the first map. I mean, okay, you can lose, technically you can lose, but if you lose on the first map on hard, you can lose one or two grants. If you're not good and play on hard, you probably will lose two grants. This is my rough estimate. The second one, if you are not so good and you play on hard, you will feel hard to actually break through the alliance base. You will do it eventually, but it will be harder. Okay, they will be much stronger. And in the third one, you need to actually divide your forces between exploring the map and attacking the humans, doing side quests, and defending the trolls. Otherwise, the trolls will get wiped out much earlier. Okay. And in the fourth map, you need to be very careful which unit you save, because otherwise you will remain with just a handful of units at the end. If you can survive the boss fight, of course, but suppose you can, you will only get a few units, and then those few units are the ones you start the next missions with. Okay, so the units you actually save are the ones you find in the next mission. So if you saved only two troops, one grunt and one shaman, you only get one grunt and one shaman in the fifth mission, besides all the base pre-placed stuff, and it's much harder this way. So there is all this stuff inside that you should take care when playing, and and the last mission is a bit harder than the previous one. I want the last mission of each campaign, if there are to be more campaigns than just the prologue, to have a bit of a difficulty jump. It's linear until the penultimate mission, and then for the last one, it's there is a jump, because this way you can feel the challenge and the reward of beating the campaign. Okay, so you feel you can actually be rewarded of your epilogue, so to speak. This is what I considered when designing the difficulty.
Oh,
In general.
I feel like an idiot. I didn't realize you could. I'm like looking at your map. I didn't realize you could use comments as a full.
You could check this for variables. If you
Oh, it's just for variables.
Yes, just for variables, because I have too many variables actually, so I needed to organize them in folders. Otherwise, it will get very hard for me to navigate through it.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Do you I mean, you must be taking it like you literally just finished, so you're gonna take a break. Are you excited to work on the human campaign?
I mean, I I would really like to work on the human campaign, because I believe it's the best of all one story-wise, and you can try to tell a story. First of all, you have amazing missions. Okay, so missions of human campaign are hard to reforge because they are quite good. I dislike two, three of them, and I will probably concentrate on reforging more of them, so reimagining more of them to vary more gameplay, to better balance difficulty, and so on. Actually, if you can see my maps, I remade all the triggers from scratch, so it's all remade from scratch, code-wise. And but the fall of Arthas, the last three missions of the campaign, they can be narrated in a much better way, which I believe will really be good, very good. I think working with proper cinematics, proper gameplay, proper challenge would be great. What
I
was
bet
this
that
noise?
that's my follow note. And don't forget to turn. Thank you. Anywho,
So yes, in short, I am excited. I hope to be able to do so, and I would like to say everyone, supporters, fans, just people who are passing by, expect more of the same. Okay, I don't want to hype things up. I dislike hype. I want to show, okay, I've done this, not okay, I will do this. I've done this, not I will do this. Because I will do this, you can also break your promises. But if you already did it, you cannot break anything, okay? So this is my approach to this
you
stuff.
you learned from Warcraft 3 Reforged. Reforged has learned from its predecessor.
Well, I mean, I don't like hype in general, so it was easy for me to learn this lesson. I was hyped for Reforged, of course. So more than hyped, I was curious. I was very eagerly waiting to replay the campaign I loved so much as a child. And I'm eagerly waiting exactly the same way for Mass Effect Remastered. So, I mean, these are games very important to me, because I believe this game taught me how to tell a story, how to write a story, and how to I don't know, express some kind of feelings through the video game medium.
Yeah, I think the world editor. I mean, it's very powerful in that there are many different avenues in which to, say, express are something like that. Tell a story. For instance, there are many maps out there that have really beautiful gameplay mechanics. Like it's all about this crazy spells that just like interact in these amazing ways. So that is the story to some. And then there are other maps that have like beautiful terrain, like maybe even like a roleplay map. And then you have custom campaigns, which do both. um, do you have any favorite custom campaigns? Like I missed out on being able to play them. I guess because I guess I still could play them.
Well, I must say, when I was actively playing Warcraft 3 back in the day, I did not have access to internet, so I couldn't download custom campaigns. I saw many of them to some YouTubers. My favorite YouTubers about that is probably Jeborino, which is has been showcasing custom campaigns for StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3 for ages. And so I saw something very interesting. For example, I really liked story wise, not gameplay wise, but story wise, the Legends of Arcane series. I would never like to play it, but I really like to see Jaborino play it and the story behind the decision, stuff like that. This was very cool, I believe. Also, I've been the honor to play for Reforged, right, to test and help the Chronicles of the Second War campaign, which is a remake of Warcraft 2 in Reforged, and it's very, very well done. And they are working very hard with all the models. As I like to tell them, too much, don't exaggerate. You don't need models for each clan. You just need, at the beginning, you just need to make it work first and then make all the models. But hey, everyone decides
But they already
what's
have all
better.
the models for the showcase.
Yes, they showcase. I believe they have a lot of stuff. Yes, yes, but I think mm, in all the time spent to make the stuff, you could also have released the campaign completely and then add the stuff later. Mm, my point of view, at least. But I really like their project. I share with them. I try to help them for what I can, and they help me back. Some models I used are from their great work, so I'm grateful for the Cultiras models, for example, are from their repository. So it's they are very good and they're very fitting for Cultiras units, and they really helped increase the immersion in the um, in the third, fourth, and fifth map where you can find the Cultiras units. For example, this is something I already said, but I don't like to give each clan, each faction its own units because I feel this is confusing, and so I will go for another way. If I have a clan, a faction which is very present, for example, you have the Warzone clan. Okay, the Warzone clan should have custom units because they are a big presence. Okay, they then turn to fellow orcs and so on. Mm, but for example, your default units should always be the default unit of the game, so you are not confused. You are playing with default units. Of course, I'm talking about Reign of Chaos here now. For I'm not even thinking about Frozen Throne yet, so it's a bit far away,
Yeah,
that
that would
one.
be a while. Yeah, yeah. I think their project is it's it's. I'm excited to play. I feel like so Reforged happened, right? And then there's not too many people like you, Shady, and that are actually working on huge projects. But there still are. Yeah. I still make my map. I know that I had plans to do Reforged version of my map, and then we just had to like because the Reforged graphics they'll like never work. There's too many units when you zoom out, have all the vertices. Too much.
Yes. I don't think they will optimize the engine much more. I don't even know if they can optimize the engine much more than they already did. Well, they could use the lots actually. They made them so they could use them, but except for that, I think it's very hard. I believe working with Warcraft team must be very hard. It must be quite a spaghetti code.
Yeah.
If you know what a spaghetti code is.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I figured that this is probably the best this can get. I mean, I guess it's some miracle situation. They come back from their pizza break and say, "Wait, wait, wait." But I don't know. Yeah, it seems pretty unlikely. Yeah,
I
how do
believe the
you?
devs would like to do so.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
believe
they would. I'd hope.
I believe they are trying to do so, but I believe there are few. I don't know how many. It would be interesting to have transparency about that, to know which people and how many are on each team. So, know, okay, this project are working 3 people, 1 people, 2 people. Okay, so I believe this is the numbers for Reforged. Actually, I believe there are not more than a handful of people for
Well,
Reforged.
yeah. When I talked to Neo on the podcast about a couple years ago, or I guess there were like 70 people working back to Warcraft, meeting all the team. Now, all I ever see is Cam or Architect. Maybe it's just him. Jokingly.
I hope not for him. I mean, I've spoken to him. He can say stuff like that. So, but if it's only him, I mean, this is quite problematic. That's
And
just
his
one.
name is John C.
Oh, yeah, I didn't turn off that one. Sorry. I'm an amateur. Hey, Wizard. You know X Wizard?
What?
X Wizard YouTuber. Warcrafter YouTuber. Here to say hi.
Don't know this guy. Who is him?
He's like Jay Barino, but he's bald.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Sorry,
Paul
Wizard.
J.
I mean,
Moreno.
yeah, right. That's fair, right? Right. Anyway, um, yeah. Anyway, so hopefully he's not the only.
We will never know unless they tell us.
Yeah, we will never know.
I mean, if they will be if they are more transparent, they will be more transparent with us. We'll talk more. I believe there is something we can do. I tried to report bug. I actually successfully reported bugs to Cam, which is architect on Discord. So
Ooh,
he was talkative.
what'd you fix for us?
I've not fixed anything. I report the bug that the fact that the trees were not moving. In the if you play Warcraft 3 online melee or campaign, you can see that the trees move for one only animation loop and then they stop. Okay,
Hmm.
so the animation is there in the editor is there, but in the game in Reforged you cannot see it beside the first loop. So they start moving at the beginning of the map and then they stop. This is quite sad, and I believed it was for performance reason, but it was actually not. It was a bug. I reported to it some days ago because I actually asked him why the trees are not moving in the map. It was for performance. I made them move, but I didn't notice any performance problem. They move in Reforged the trees, but not in the original campaign. And it tell me, okay, I didn't notice this. It is a bug. I hope they can fix this so I can remove my triggers. I moved the trees by trigger actually. I use a trigger to move the trees.
You moved it. That's hilarious.
Yes, there is a periodic trigger that runs and plays a random animation on all the trees of the map, on a percentage of trees of the map. So otherwise it could be costly doing this by trigger. So I just use 45%, I believe, if my memory serves me well. Depends on the size of the map. A smaller map gets more trees moving than larger maps.
Yeah. So I've just been looking through casually. So I'm curious about this whole facial animation. There are like items.
Okay. You found it. Okay.
Yeah.
You found the most amazing workaround I've ever made.
Yeah, I was
Basically, it is, it is very recent actually because I made it when I was localizing the game. Actually, it's very easy to localize the game with Reforged. Okay, you have in the asset manager a drop-down menu for which in which you can choose the language of an asset. So you can have the same path, and different locales associated to it. So you can have the Italian version, the Spanish version, and so on. The problem is you for this you have also this for the strings. The strings you can find them by clicking on File, Export Strings, and so forth. They are bundled in a .wts file, which is the string file for Warcraft, and you can translate this string file. Okay, then you import it into the game, and if you play on other language, automatically it will load the correct strings, and can play localized. The problem is the function I use the only function possible to use to make portraits work, they don't add to this file. So you cannot add dialogues and have it localized. It's impossible,
Ah,
technically.
that's why.
Yes, I store the info about the strings, so the speaker name and the dialogue text inside items. These items, since they are in the object editor, they can be localized. They add to the .wts file. And because of that, when you load the map at initialization, you can spawn these items, which are loading the localized string because they are actually localized. It's a map initialization is after you have loaded the right assets, localized assets, and you can this way associate with the function I used before the proper names to each dialogue, and then when it runs, it's localized. This is the only way actually I found to localize custom-made dialogues. Otherwise, you cannot have facial animation and so forth. It's quite complex. It's not that easy to make it. It's easy now, but originally when I saw this, oh shit, I cannot localize this. Instead, I managed to do it. So this is quite good, especially for the Russian Spanish community, which are playing the game right now. They can play in their own language and not in English.
Yeah, so if you're confused watching this, I'm sure if somebody wasn't super fluent in the world editor. So basically, this is a trick map makers use sometimes. The item, like an item in a game, like if you buy like a healing solve will have a tooltip that says its name and like what it does. And what he does is he stores the text information or the yeah, like the portrait
The
animation.
dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue in the tooltip. Genius. And then he pulls from that. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why there were items. Why you were making items for each animation. That's cool. Yeah, they use this trick
It's
for like there's some fancy things people have done. They just like store everything in ability tooltips. Like there's like this save load that somebody was helping me use. You can actually save like data from a game. So you play a game, right? And then the game at the end saves all of the, kills that you got or you got in like ability tool. Loads same way that you're doing it though.
it's very similar. Yes. Mm, It's well, it's a workaround. I mean, I would prefer the simplest way to do this. So please, Blizzard, finish and give us the dialogue editor so we can do this easily, and everyone can do this easily, even people less skilled with the word editor.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
believe map making should not have a big entry barrier. It should be easier than working with Unity, for example, or with Unreal Engine. It should be easier, not harder.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll pretty quickly agree, but I feel like it's bad. It's how much activity they could be getting or continue to stimulate from like having an accessible world editor. They don't even need to make it super fancy. It doesn't need rocket science. It like or like there's so many people. I make a map and I stream it often. But I'll just be streaming on Twitch for like 5 hours, and people are like, "Oh, like I'd love to make a map," and like they try to get into it a little bit, but it's like not everyone, I guess, has time or dedication. I might be nice if they made it a little easier.
Well, something current game engine do is often provide templates. Okay, but this is, I believe, it's also beyond the scope of the Galaxy editor, which is the editor of StarCraft 2, is much better
Yeah,
than the Word editor. It's more powerful. It's very powerful. You can use local variables. You can create your own custom functions. It's very powerful. I really like the Galaxy editor. I hoped when I saw Reforged, I hope they would have brought us the Galaxy editor stuff with some templates to make some kinds of map. For example, a Dota template. So you have all the power of the Galaxy editor plus you have a backbone of triggers set up for made a specific map. I think this will be the better word because people I mean, there is a big entry barrier to making games in Unity or in a real engine. And the entry barrier is not the coding or the gameplay. You can figure out, you can find some way to do it. It's the asset, the art assets. Warcraft 3 or Galaxy or StarCraft 2 have the assets, so you can make interesting gameplay with existing assets. Then you can also test the gameplay. I mean, I am testing something that I want to make, then it's good, people like it, so I can turn it into a game. It's like the Dota thing, right? It's so easy. So you can make it actually a breeding ground for all those ideas to come into fruition. And you could even, as a company, instead of forbidding people to export gameplay, you could actually encourage them to do so and ask a share. I mean, you could make some great stuff with this, I believe.
dude, I totally agree. Sometimes people come, they see me map make, and they're like, "Why don't you just make your own game? Why don't you just make it in Unity?" Like, it's literally what you just said. The assets. Yeah, I could go and figure, but we already have all of these blood elf models and stuff. It's just, and then you can play it in real time, like when a custom lot, try it out.
Yes, it's great to test gameplay. It's great for a game designer. If you want to work as an engineer or as a 3D artist, of course you need to make your own assets and stuff. I did. I do make my own assets. I do make my own infrastructure in Unity, for example. But it's a complete different thing. It's much slower. You risk to be making an entire infrastructure, entire set of assets, and then the game just sucks. I mean, you can make beautiful assets in the back game. You can make a perfect game, technically wise. You can make a beautiful game, but your game can be bad. For example, Dawn of War 3. Dawn of War 3, I didn't play it, I saw something of it. It was a perfect game. Perfect from the networking perspective, perfect from the technical perspective. Great assets, but the gameplay wasn't fun. It's worthless to have a beautiful functioning game and it's not fun. It must be fun first. It's not fun. What are you making? It's not a game. It's just a demo.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I mean, you could spend like, I mean, this is what they do. Like companies make entire games once. They play test it or whatever. They pay people to tell them that it's fun, and then it releases, and people.
Mm,
At least I can get people to tell me my game sucks right now.
Well, yes, this is very useful. I don't know how it works in big companies because it's strange. For example, how they didn't notice with Dawn of War 3, for example, that it wasn't fun. I mean, the playtester didn't realize it wasn't fun for their own player base. This is strange because it's not an unfinished game. It's a great game, technically wise. Why it's not fun? You design it badly. Mm, Usually, big companies make another kind of mistakes. They overpromised, and then you have a decent game which may also be fun, but it's not. It's not good in a technically speaking. For example, Cyberpunk now it's became a meme, but it's it's not the only one. Anthem.
Is Cyberpunk still that buggy?
I didn't play Cyberpunk. I saw because some reviews of it, some stuff. I believe the game is unfinished in that case.
Huh.
Watching the bugs, I watched a lot of bugs. I really
Uh,
like watching the bugs of Cyberpunk
I guess there's a
because
lot of YouTube videos on that.
mm, a lot it's an underestimation of the number of
Oh
videos about
Jesus!
it. And and some bugs are not glitches. I think they are engine bugs. I mean, the physics engine of the asset streamer cannot just work fine. It didn't work, so things are bugs out in a weird way. It's I believe it's much worse than just some glitches. The game is unfinished in that case. They
Wait,
promised the
Cyberpunk
moon.
is bad. I'm sorry. I'm missing. But
It's the biggest thing the games industry in the last month.
yeah, well, I know it was hyped forever. People come to my stream like once a week. Yo, dude, you gonna play Cyberpunk? And I did play Cyberpunk. I thought it was sick, but I didn't realize it was actually this.
I think it's a great case study for what can go wrong in game development. It's a similar story to Reforged. Of course, Reforged was much less hyped. It's not comparable. I mean, 8 million pre-orders. What the fuck is this? Why do you pre-order so much? You should not pre-order a game. Never. I did pre-order Reforged because I knew I was going to buy it anyway. I mean, it's Warcraft 3. How could I not have bought the remaster of the game of my childhood? It's not possible for me to do that. But a new game, wait, nothing change if you don't pre-order. And I believe the big companies are not in a, they cannot work well anymore because there is a lot of pressure. It's strange. It's it's not like it was 10 years ago, I think, the AAA gaming industry, and Blizzard is much an example of this. I mean,
Yeah, seems like
they
indie games that I guess some of the biggest hype games, at least on Twitch, of the past year have been Among Us, and Fall Guys, which I don't know if I'm gonna call them indie games, but these more like casual games seem to really take the spotlight more so than
well, don't you guys have phones? I mean, Among Us can
exactly
be
right.
played on a phone, and this is the future. I mean, this is the future for the majority of people out there. Then there are some people like me, which I'm I am happy to be in a niche and to play with my PC and stay in my very restrict number of with a restrict number of people which likes playing on PC complex games, because a casual game cannot be complex mechanically wise, so it limits mm, your possibility of expression of gameplay, of story, of everything. A game should not be complex just to be complex, of course. Something can be complex but easy to play for the user. This is the best way possible. Something deep but easy to play. Warcraft 3, I believe it's a game which is very deep and very easy to play. You can play it decently quite fast, but to master it and play deeply, it's very hard. StarCraft, even more so, for example.
You really like StarCraft. What race do you play?
On StarCraft, I always loved Protoss. Always.
I always like Protoss too.
Always been a fan of them. I love the fact that they could build structures and you don't need to babysit the structure. This is something I fell in love with. It just allows you to play faster. Now I'm not a ranked player. I played some online, but I'm very casual from that point of view. I'm not a good player because I mean, I'm better at micro. I suck at macro. Okay, so I can play with few units quite well, but with building out of stuff, lot of stuff, it's not my cup of tea.
What do you think about StarCraft 2 custom? Hey,
I think
obviously you're acquainted with the better editor.
I think they are amazing. I mean, you have. I'm not been playing them for quite a while, but I believe StarCraft 2 it's the pinnacle of real-time strategy in a broader sense, both from the custom, from the co-op point of view, from the campaigns. StarCraft 2 it's the pinnacle. Warcraft 3 only has to borrow from it, I think, without changing the gameplay. I mean, not Warcraft 3 still Warcraft 3, but campaign wise, melee game, sorry, custom game wise, it has a lot to borrow from. Of course, it's limited by the editor, but uh, a Galaxy editor in Warcraft 3 would be amazing, actually. Being able to make all that stuff work would be great.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pipe dream. But you, I've rolled editor
Yeah,
project that's been in work for years. I think it's a thing called the I've rolled editor, and it looks pretty promising. It's like a community adaptation.
I miss that.
Yeah,
I
you
miss
should
that.
check it out. You might be interested. It's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think it's anything like, as far as I know, the Galaxy editor, like, fundamentally, I mean, maybe they made this better because they did update it, but it's like fundamentally different. It's not, it's not going to be like the Galaxy editor, but it's a lot faster and it just seems a lot cleaner. Like, for instance, if I have the regular editor and I place thousands of griffins, model griffins, the editor will lag. If I open the Hive World editor, I could place like tens of thousands. That gets, it runs
This
better
is
than the
interesting.
actual game.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't know about that, but I'm quite an outsider to this community. I mean, I have been a member of Hive Shop for years, but I was a larker. I looked at stuff, but I didn't engage anyway. So I jumped into this scene just from March that I am in this modding community. I was not there before. My presence is quite recent. I mean, I'm an outsider, I would say, not long-standing member. I'm not Retera, so has been here for ages.
Since he was born, some would say. But anyway, I would keep this. So I think the Hive World editor, its next version, 0.7, will support Reforged. So I don't think it supports Reforged graphics yet. But whenever that comes out, you could download, like, there's like they have like a prototype GitHub because my friend me out for, I can't even find it other than,
That's interesting. I will take a look for sure.
oh, Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, oh, and then the other thing. Oh, I totally blanked. You should check out something called Warcraft 3 Champions. You know about this? Champions?
Yes, it's the fan made ladder system.
Yeah, I think if there's any, personally, I'm gonna push it as hard as I can. Like I know, I think there's any chance for custom campaigns coming, it's through because they basically it's like it's a little bit more than a custom ladder at this point. They have their own servers now, so to some extent, they're getting as close as they can to just having their own client for Warcraft 3. And if they were to do this, then they can make the interface for custom campaigns, if that makes sense. It's just a matter of like enough people asking them if they can do it. You know, because since they're all ladder players, none of them play custom campaigns. They don't even know. In fact, I think I brought this up to Stefan, and it was the first time he even realized that there were custom.
Well, if we ever get a custom campaign system from Blizzard or from anyone else, I I will promptly change my campaign to be packaged under one custom campaign to make everyone play it. I mean, I believe Blizzard can do this, even the ladder. If they can't, they want, they don't want. Well, we can resort to this other kind of stuff. Yes, I saw it. I saw in your stream that you were using their client, the
Yeah,
War 3 Champions client.
yeah. I don't think the ladder's coming anymore because I think Blizzard has champion. Well, I don't know if we can do this better than you guys have already done it. So I don't think there's a ladder coming, but I don't know if that's a bad thing. I think if a ladder was coming at this point, it might be a bad, because then they'd have to kill War 3 Champion, like Blizzard's ladder, which would inevitably. I don't. I don't know.
We know in just a few days, I believe. I think they will say something at BlizzCon. I believe they will say something at least. Maybe also, hey guys, it's abandoned. Goodbye. Even something like that. At least something like that they should be able to say.
What can?
It's at the end of January, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome. Exciting. All right, word. I don't know. So I know you said you had a certain 1 hour and 20. I don't know if you want to like try to ask questions that now or
If
up
there
to
is
you.
some question I can answer, I have 10 15 minutes left.
All right, perfect.
At most. Then I need to go. If there are questions, I can answer, of course. Otherwise, I can go.
What's up, Moon Man? Great work on ounce and even sugar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I know that's true, is it now? But I've talked to a lot of people, ladder scene, and it seems like they may not do it anymore because of War 3 Champions, because they would rather just let like the community take over. But I don't know. This is all theory. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for same, you're not a game developer by day.
No, I'm actually a PhD student. I'm a software engineer, actually.
Genius. You're
No.
getting your PhD in something.
I am.
Christ.
My PhD is in artificial intelligence. I'm
Oh
at
my
the last year
god.
of my PhD.
A legitimate genius. All right. Holy shit.
Not really.
Please save our fucking planet, dude.
Actually, I believe. Uh, let's say this way: by working on the AI field, I didn't like it as much as I believe I would. It's mm, less good than they hype it to be. Let's say it this way. It's
Yeah. I mean, I feel
it's
like
not as good as they say.
yeah, I feel like artificial. It's very buzzword right now, I guess, but I feel like practically it's kind of boring.
It's lot of data, and
Yeah.
mm, you train something to approximate something that fits that data. That's it basically. You have also awesome stuff like, for example, Alpha Star in StarCraft 2, which um, was very good player, but even Alpha Star was not human-like. I mean, it was evident it was an AI from the trained eye. It was repetitive. It was like a super powerful script, automated script, more than an actual intelligence. It's not intelligent. This is the point. It's not intelligent. It's it's automatic. It's useful. It's not intelligent. This is the point, I think, of AI.
Word. Well, if there are no questions, I've run out of my questions.
Perfect.
Yeah. How do you like Italy?
What?
How do you like the country that you live in? Are you
Yes, I do.
okay?
I
Great.
don't want to move from my
Uh,
country.
oh,
So yes, I do
finally!
like my country.
Like the first person I've met who likes
Why?
where they
So many
live.
Italians want to live
No,
to
no, I'm just
Italy?
joking. I mean, I live in I live in America, and the meme or the joke right now is perhaps I miss. Everyone hates where they live.
Well, each place has its problem, but I like how it's life here. It's better than in many other places, I believe. The quality of life, I mean, now, Paul, not talking about politics or this kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So, um, thank you so much for coming on Insane Monster.
And thank you
I
for this podcast.
oh yeah, absolutely. We have a bunch of links everywhere. I'm gonna put things in the. You can check out his YouTube for you have like trailers on there. You can
I
check
have the
out
trailer, and I will publish the cinematics of the entire campaign one by one until the prologue is completed. Only the cinematics, so I will not spoil gameplay, and I will release them slowly so people can enjoy them by playing the maps instead of watching my YouTube channel. It's much better to play instead of watching, I think. And yes, I
yeah.
have the trailer, also the trailer.
I think it makes sense to put them out in parts because if you put out all the cinematics at once, then everyone will just watch them. And, okay, cool.
Yes, this is the point. Also this applies also to the playthrough. I decided to not publish official playthrough of the final version, and I will not publish any more playthrough of any version of any campaign I will make. If people want to make playthrough, want to play it, go play it, showcase it, do what you want, but I will not publish because otherwise I spoil people the game. They don't need to play the game if they see me playing it. They can just watch what I've done. Okay, good, great, stop. It's much less impactful, I would say.
Yeah, and so you can download it on Hive Workshop. There's like a Bitly. I'll link Hive Workshop. Ed. I'll link the description, all that. Thank you so much, man. I don't know if you have any final words.
I thank you, and thank you for the support and for the podcast, and thank you all the other supporters out there, all those who left a review, who are playing the game and enjoying it, who are leaving reviews and stuff like that. It's very appreciated. It's been a long work. It's and so seeing it come into fruition, it's good. It's something that I really like. So thank you if you come by and say me, okay, I enjoyed it, or even if you criticize it and help me make it better, I mean, do it. I would love to hear your opinions of you all.
A final shout out from me to Ardinaso, who said, I posted my podcast with Ortera. You should also talk with Shady HD and Insane. So, shout out to him. He's another I found you. I actually saw your videos, but I didn't even. Anyway, yeah, enjoy your night, everybody. Go.
Thank you. Goodbye.